Happy December, everyone! Are you all getting excited for Christmas as much as I am? Today, I will be showing you how to make this very easy and inexpensive DIY Christmas tree decoration. I will be using some bamboo skewers, yarn, which I have coiled around a piece of cardboard to make it more easier, and I'll explain why in a little bit. You'll need a pair of scissors, a fork, yes, a fork, some hot glue, and this part is optional, but I'm going to be using these wooden place card holders. I found this pack at Ross, believe it or not, and it was very inexpensive. I'm going to use it as the stand for my tree, as you can see here. The second style will be without the stand, and it'll be made in ornament style. The first step is to build the frame. I will be using a total of 4 skewers. You just need to make sure that you have 2 skewers the same size for the sides. Then the longest skewer will be the one going down the center, and the shortest skewer will be for the bottom of the tree. Once you puzzle them together, you're going to secure it with a little bit of hot glue. For a visual demonstration, I'm going to build a second tree for you. For the sides, you'll need 2 of the same size skewers, making sure the pointed end are facing each other at the tip of the tree. For the longest skewer, you want to make sure it's at least 1.5 to 2 inches longer. And this one, you want to make sure it's pointed downwards if you're going to do the stand-up style, because you'll need it to stab into the place card holder. If you decide to do the ornament style, you don't need the point to be towards the bottom. Instead, I would actually flip your skewer upside down so that the flat end is at the bottom. For this one, I want my tree to stand up, so I will be using the place card holder. With that being said, I need to glue this with the pointed end facing down. The last piece is the smallest piece, which will connect it all together. I found it helpful to prop my skewers onto a leveled box and having it sit over the edge so that it doesn't get glued to the surface that I'm working on. Create a V and double check your space at the bottom matches your shortest stick. I started out with a little glue just so I'm able to connect them. Later, I will go back to add more for reinforcement. When you glue the base, it is important that you cut off the point and you have 2 flat ends. You'll want to glue them to the inside of the tree. So just like a Q-tip, add a little bit of glue to both ends and complete your triangle. The reason why it is important to glue it on the inside is because once we start wrapping it with yarn, it tends to pull the sides inwards. This way you'll have more leverage and it'll help prevent it from collapsing. For the longest skewer, you'll need to glue it at the tip point of the tree and down the center where you'll need to secure it at the base. Now that all my pieces are connected, I'm going to go back and add more glue to reinforce the joints. Here are a couple finished examples. You'll need to cut your skewers down to the size of the tree that you want. As for the yarn pattern, the beauty of this is that I used the exact same pattern technique for both of these. This style is just more scrunched up versus this style, which is more spread out. So depending on the look you want, you can adjust. Going back to the yarn, having it coiled around a cardboard really helps gain control while weaving it over and under. If not, you'll run into a lot of problems, not to mention knots, if you don't have your yarn under control. The first thing you want to do is double knot your yarn to one of the bottom corners of your tree. Don't worry about this flap, we will deal with that later. Once you have it secured, you're going to start the rotation pattern. You're going to do 1 rotation for the center stick, then gently tug to tighten the tension after each rotation. For the sides, instead of 1 rotation, you will do 2. You're going to go back and forth across the tree until you reach the top. During this process, you can adjust the spacing between the yarn to achieve the look that you want. Squishing them closer together will give you more of a full look. I'm going for the more spaced out look for the sake of this video. I think it looks nice when few are displayed with a variety of styles, so I'm actually working on my 6th tree. Once I got closer to the top where the space was limited, I removed my yarn from the cardboard and I pushed it through with my fingertips. But when I got to the very tip top, where I couldn't push it through with my fingertips, I used the pointed end of a skewer to help me guide them through. To finish it off, I wrapped the last 1/2 inch and tucked it under on the back and secured it with a little bit of glue. For the little flap at the bottom, I trimmed off most of it and secured it with a little more glue. Now it's time to work on the fringe. Using the width of 4 fingers, I wrapped some yarn around them and then I cut the loop open. This will give you a bunch of the same length yarn. Using one piece at a time, you're going to fold it in half, creating a loop. Then you're going to snake it over the stick and slightly pull it under. Next, you're going to take the two tail ends and thread that through the loop and pull to tighten. Repeat this until you've filled up the bottom of your tree. Although this video is sped up, this really didn't take long. In fact, it was very therapeutic. I did it while watching a movie. Now that I have created the fringe, I'm going to trim them down to the length that I want. Perfect. Now my tree needs a topper, and for that I'll be making a tiny pom-pom. Here are a few examples. This is super duper quick and easy to make. You'll need to grab that fork and about 2.5 feet of yarn. Pinch your yarn down onto your fork, leaving a 2-inch tail, and then you'll slide the yarn through the middle tine of the fork and wrap it about 15 rotations. Once you're done, lift up the 2-inch tail and pull it over your coiled yarn and thread it through the same middle tine. Next, carefully push up your nest of yarn so that you can recover the tail through the bottom. You should have 2 ends facing up, which you will double knot. Once you have it knotted, slide the whole thing off your fork and fluff it up. There is your little pom-pom. To connect it to the tree, I added a little glue and tied it on the back for extra reinforcement. Gave it a little snip and glued the ends down. The final step is to push the pointed end into the place card holder or add the string for the ornament style. And there you have it, your very own DIY Christmas tree home decor. I hope I was able to teach or inspire some of you. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider it and like this video if you want to see more DIY projects. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.